It started a few months ago when I moved into my new apartment. I had just gotten a promotion at work, and it was time to leave my old place behind. The apartment wasn't anything fancy, but it was in a quiet neighborhood, a little outside the city. I liked the idea of peace and solitude. I didn't realize that solitude could feel so wrong. The first night there, I noticed something off. You know that feeling when you're alone, but something tells you, deep in your gut, that you aren't? That was how I felt. At first, I blamed it on the unfamiliar space, the sounds of the building settling, or maybe just my imagination running wild. But the feeling never went away. Every night, just as I was about to fall asleep, I would hear it, a soft scratching sound. It wasn't loud, just a faint, irregular noise coming from somewhere inside the apartment. I checked everywhere, inside the closet, under the bed, even in the air vents. Nothing. It got worse. One night, I woke up to the sound of whispering. It was distant, almost like it was coming from the walls. I held my breath, straining to hear, but the moment I focused on it, it stopped. I told myself it was a neighbor, maybe someone with the TV on too loud, but deep down, I knew better. Then, the shadows came. It started with little things, shapes that didn't belong, movements in the corner of my eye. I work long hours, so I chalked it up to exhaustion. But one night, as I lay in bed, I saw something that I couldn't explain. My bedroom door was slightly open, just a crack. I never slept with it open, but I assumed I had forgotten to close it. As I turned over to face the other side, I saw it. A shadow, tall, thin, standing just outside my door. My heart pounded so hard I could hear it in my ears. I blinked, hoping it was just my imagination. But when I opened my eyes again, the shadow was gone. I didn't sleep that night. I started keeping all the lights on. I even left the TV playing just to have noise in the background. But the presence, whatever it was, didn't care about light or sound. One night, while watching TV, I saw something that nearly made my heart stop. The screen glitched for a second, turning to static. Then, for a brief moment, I saw a reflection in the black screen. It wasn't mine. Behind me, standing near the couch, was a woman. She was pale, her long dark hair hanging over her face, her head tilted unnaturally. Her mouth, God! Her mouth was stretched wide as if frozen mid-scream. I spun around, but there was no one there. The air behind me was ice cold. I wanted to run. I wanted to grab my keys and never look back. But something told me that wouldn't help. This thing, whatever it was, wasn't just in my apartment. It was with me. I started waking up with bruises. Small ones at first, then bigger, darker ones. I didn't remember hitting anything, didn't remember hurting myself in my sleep. But every morning, they were there. One night, I woke up gasping for air. It felt like something was sitting on my chest, pressing down, forcing the breath from my lungs. My arms felt pinned, and in the darkness I saw her again. The woman. She was on top of me, her face inches from mine. Her mouth was still open, but this time I heard it, her scream. It wasn't loud, not at first. It was like a distant wail, growing closer, sharper, splitting into an unbearable shriek. And then, nothing. I woke up on the floor, gasping, drenched in sweat. I couldn't stay there anymore. I left that morning. I didn't pack. I didn't care about my things. I just walked out and never looked back. I found a new place, far from that apartment, far from whatever was in there. But sometimes at night, I still hear it, the scratching. And I know, she found me again.
Story number 2.
I never used to believe in ghosts. I was the kind of person who laughed at horror movies, who rolled my eyes when someone swore their house was haunted. But that was before I moved into that house. Before I learned that some things don't care if you believe in them or not. It started with the knocking. The house was old, built sometime in the 1930s, with creaky floors and drafty windows. I rented it for cheap, and at first I thought I had found a great deal. It was a little isolated, sitting at the end of a long, cracked driveway, surrounded by woods. Peaceful. Quiet. The first night I woke up to the sound of knocking. It wasn't loud, just a soft, rhythmic tapping. I lay there in bed, listening, trying to figure out where it was coming from. Knock, knock, knock. I checked the front door. Nothing. I checked the windows, even opened the back door to peek outside. The night was still. The trees barely moved in the breeze. But the moment I went back inside, the knocking started again. Knock, knock, knock. I told myself it was the pipes, maybe the old wood expanding. But deep down, something about it unsettled me. A few nights later, I woke up again. This time, it wasn't knocking. It was footsteps. Soft. Slow. Moving down the hallway just outside my bedroom. I held my breath, staring at the crack of the door, waiting to see a shadow pass by. I told myself it was my imagination. That's what I had to believe. But then my bedroom door creaked open. I shot up in bed, my heart slamming against my ribs. The door swung open just a little, just enough for me to see into the dark hallway beyond. But there was nothing there. I didn't sleep the rest of the night. The next morning, I checked the house. Every door was locked, every window shut, no sign that anyone had broken in. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. Things got worse after that. The knocking became more frequent, moving through the house, tapping at my bedroom door, at the walls, at the ceiling. Sometimes I'd wake up and find drawers open, furniture moved just slightly like someone had been searching for something. One night I heard whispering. It was faint, coming from the hallway outside my door. I couldn't make out the words, but it sounded urgent, like someone was pleading. I sat up, my throat dry, listening. The whispers stopped. Then, from right outside my bedroom door, a voice, low, broken, barely more than a breath, said my name. I ran. I grabbed my keys, my phone, and bolted out of the house, spending the night in my car. The next day I called the landlord. I didn't tell him everything, just that I was hearing things, that the house felt wrong. He hesitated before saying, "You should probably know there was a woman who lived there before you. Lived alone for years. She disappeared, just vanished one night. No sign of where she went." That was enough for me. I packed my things and found a new place as fast as I could. But even now, late at night, I still hear it. Knock, knock, knock. And I know she's still looking for me.
Story number 3.
I never liked working late, but sometimes I didn't have a choice. The office was quiet after hours, eerily so. The overhead lights buzzed faintly, and the hum of the vending machine was the only sound filling the empty space. I tried to ignore how strange the silence felt, how unnatural. That night, I was alone. Or at least, I thought I was. I glanced at the clock. 11:47 p.m. I sighed, rubbing my eyes. Just a few more emails, and I could head home. Then I heard it. A soft shuffling sound. I froze, my fingers hovering over the keyboard. It came from the hallway, just beyond my cubicle. The office should have been empty. The cleaning crew wasn't due until morning. I swallowed hard and slowly stood up, peeking over my cubicle wall. The rows of desks were dimly lit by the exit sign's glow. Nothing seemed out of place. Then at the far end of the office, I saw movement. A shadow. I ducked down quickly, my heart hammering. Someone was there. But how? The doors locked automatically after hours. No one else had a key. I stayed completely still, listening. Silence. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe exhaustion was playing tricks on me. Taking a deep breath, I sat back down and tried to focus on my screen. I just needed to finish up and leave. But then a sound made my blood run cold. A whisper. Right behind me. I spun around so fast my chair tipped over. My breath caught in my throat. No one was there. The air was thick, heavy, as if something unseen was lingering just out of reach. My skin prickled. I grabbed my phone and shined the flashlight around, my hand shaking. Nothing. I wasn't staying any longer. I packed my things in a rush, not even bothering to shut down my computer properly. I just needed to get out. As I headed for the exit, I felt it. A presence. The weight of unseen eyes watching me. I refused to turn around. I kept my eyes locked on the glass door ahead, my steps quick and purposeful. Then, just as I reached the door, I saw the reflection in the glass. A figure, tall, distorted, standing behind me. My breath hitched. I whipped around, and there was nothing. The office was empty. The reflection had been there. I knew what I saw. I didn't think. I yanked the door open and ran to my car, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would burst. I never worked late again, but sometimes when I pass by the office at night, I see it. A shadow in the window, watching.